Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Hope you all are doing well. Today we're gonna do a little bit different of a video than I usually do. Since we're kind of on a break from the TSX and my car's all the way in Minnesota, I really don't have the opportunity to work on any of the cars right now. With that said, I just kind of wanted to take the time to break down what it costs me to do a weekend with NASA. Now I was calculating the average cost of a weekend at Gingerman, and when I saw the total, I just wanted to cry. So with that said, I'm gonna put together an average cost of a weekend with NASA at Gingerman Raceway, which isn't too far, but also not too close to me either. So it'll kind of give you an idea of how much goes into fuel. So I'm gonna hit a few different main categories, and these are all variable. They can definitely go up or they can go down depending on how much you're willing to spend. I'm gonna show you guys what I do, what I spend, and why I do it. The first main cost is the track weekend itself. With NASA, it tends to be a little bit on the higher side when it comes to the different organizations that you can actually go to. But I've seen prices for the weekend as low as $479 all the way up to $519. And since we're using Gingerman for this example, Gingerman is typically $479 for Saturday and Sunday. Now the way I do my track weekends is I like to show up a day early, and then I like to leave the day after the second day. So we're showing up on Friday and we're leaving on Monday. And the main reason for that is getting there and getting back home in a safe manner. Getting there on Friday, we don't have to rush, just park the car at the track when we get there and then head to the hotel. Same thing with Monday. After an entire weekend of tracking a car, driving is very exhausting. And one of the most dangerous parts of this whole motorsports thing is getting to the track and also getting back home. And that's why we do it the way we do it. The second main cost of a track weekend with NASA is going to be trailer rental. Now, I don't own a trailer, so I'll typically rent a U-Haul. The typical cost for a U-Haul vehicle transport trailer is about $55 per day. I am renting it for about 4 days because that's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. That's how long I'm gonna have the trailer for. And in addition to that, $24 is the cheapest coverage for that trailer, which I always get just in case. So at the end of the day, we are looking at about $244 for trailer rental. Now, of course, an alternative is that you drive your car to the track. I don't have the luxury of doing that. My EG is not registered. I don't have plates for it, so I have to trailer it everywhere I go. But I do want to caution you guys, if you guys are driving your car to the racetrack and driving it back home, you now introduce another level of risk. Make sure you know where the nearest U-Haul is. Make sure you know where your nearest friend that owns a truck is. Just make sure you have a backup plan, because I've heard these terror stories before where people's cars are blowing up on track and they have no way to get back home and they're hours and hours away from home, and it's just this entire ordeal. Just make sure you have a plan B if you decide that you are driving your car to the track. The third main cost of a weekend with NASA is, of course, lodging. Now, typically, me and my guys, we like to stay at a hotel. We want to make sure that we have a nice, comfortable bed to sleep in. We want to be able to shower. We just want to be well rested. Typically, hotels around the Gingerman area are going to range around $85 to north of $120, but if we can get a decent deal, we're looking at spending about $85 a night. If we're staying there from Friday to Monday, that's 3 nights totaling to $255. Of course, an alternative to that is you can just spend the night at the track. You can sleep in your truck or your vehicle if you want to. It might not be very comfortable, but you can do that. And I've also seen people pitch a tent at the track, and that's fine too, because there will be bathrooms available and most racetracks will have showers available. So if you're okay sleeping in a tent, being out in the elements, that's totally fine too, because that is a much cheaper option. Number 4 main cost of a weekend with NASA, and that's going to be fuel. The truck I use to trailer my car is my Toyota Tundra. It's got a 26-gallon fuel tank. I can make it from Chicago to Gingerman in less than 1 tank, so we're looking at 2 fill-ups. Last year in 2023, the typical for 87 price was $3.52. So if we take that price, multiply it by the size of the fuel tank, and multiply that again by 2 fill-ups, we're looking at $176 for the weekend. In addition to that, of course, we have to fuel up the race car as well. My EG, of course, runs the factory fuel tank, which roughly is about 10 gallons. The car is also on an E85 tune, and if I remember correctly, I don't think I spent anything over $3 per gallon for E85 last year. On top of filling up the car itself, I'll have about 2 5-gallon jugs of E85 as well. And at the end of the day, we're looking at about 20 gallons, and if we multiply that by the average of $3 per gallon, we're looking at $60. So if we add the cost of fuel for the truck and the race car, we're looking at a total of $236. Here's a 5th main cost of a weekend with NASA, and that is food. Now, typically I really don't do breakfast, but for this example, we're gonna go ahead and price out breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And typically those prices, we're looking at $10 for breakfast, about $15 for lunch, and about $30 for dinner, because of course you might want to grab a drink or something like that. But typically if we're driving there on Friday, we're gonna have dinner there at the track. breakfast, lunch, and dinner for Saturday and Sunday, and then Monday and the day we're leaving, we're most likely having breakfast as well. So if you factor all those together, we're looking at roughly $150 of food for the weekend. In addition to that, if you guys want to grab like a case of water and snacks for the weekend, which I do highly recommend, it's important to make sure that you guys are hydrated and have energy while you guys are out there on track, so we'll factor in an extra $20 for that as well. With that said, we're looking at a total of about $170 there. And that brings us to the very end of this video. When we add everything up, when we factor in the cost of the event itself, trailers, hotels, fuel, food, we are looking at a total of about $1,384, and that makes me really sad. Now, of course, that's the cost for how I do it. For me, what I do makes sense. I make sure that I'm covered in all aspects of a track weekend, and I make sure I don't get myself in a position where I'm backed into any corners. You can definitely make a track weekend much less expensive than this, but just understand that the cheaper you go, the more risks are involved as well. At the end of the day, you guys just need to get out there on track and do it for yourself. I can't urge you guys enough to just get out there and start driving. There are many organizations out there where you can track your car for much less. You just have to find them. There are plenty around this area in the Midwest. And if you're scared or you're skeptical or you just don't know where to start, go ahead and DM me on IG, find me on Facebook, even comment on this video itself. I'll do my best to walk you guys through this whole process. I've been there before. It's a little bit scary at first if you've never done it, but once you do it, you're not gonna wanna stop. That pretty much brings us to the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing a little bit of insight on what it costs to do a track weekend with NASA. Again, price can go up, price can go down. It just depends on what you're willing to spend. Stay tuned for content similar to this. Hopefully we have more EG content soon. We just have to do a few safety items to that car to get it ready for comp school in March. But that car is all the way in Minnesota, so it's a little bit difficult to work on it when I need to. With that said, if you guys liked the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you guys want to stay up to date with the videos, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And if you would like, go ahead and share the video because it definitely helps out the channel. Until next time, stay safe, stay smooth. I'll see you guys in the next video.